Well, bowling, Kayla Anderson has the morning off. Robert Walsh is our producer. And over the weekend, some big news for Tennessee Volunteers football, adding, according to 247 Sports, the number one player in the class of 2026, Grimsley High School quarterback Faizon Brandon, committing to the Vols over the weekend. We are pleased to be joined right now by his head coach of Grimsley High School in the state of North Carolina, Coach Darryl Brown, joining us here this morning. Coach Brown, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. We appreciate the time. Let's start just from the scouting report, Coach. What makes your quarterback, the five-star new Tennessee commit, such a talented player?
Well, there's a lot of different things. The obvious thing that sticks out is his skill set. Faizon's 6'4", 205, and throws the football as well as any kid that I've ever had in my 20-some years as a head football coach. But on top of that, a lot of things that people don't see is just his work ethic, the kind of young man he is. He's super humble. He really doesn't like attention coming his way, and he always deflects it to his teammates. But he's a guy that's hungry to continue to get better, and he strives to do that every day.
Coach Darryl Brown, head coach of Grimsley High School, the head coach for Faizon Brandon, our guest. Coach, where have you seen Faizon improve the most over his time so far as a high school quarterback?
Well, really, probably this offseason, just in understanding of what defenses are trying to do. I mean, he started to grasp that a lot as the year went on last year. But now he has a really good understanding of kind of what he's seeing from different defenses in the secondary through some of the stuff that we've done this summer and some of our 7-on-7s and things that we've done against our defense, and just his anticipation, being able to get the ball out of his hand a little bit earlier and just anticipating throws. That's been the biggest thing, that and his leadership. He's really grown in that role as well, which is very important with the position that he plays. And he's a quiet young man by nature, but he's become more vocal, and he's definitely a leader for our program and for our team. And he leads by example, but he's become more vocal as well.
Coach Darryl Brown of Grimsley High School is with us this morning. Faizon Brandon's head coach. Coach, coming into this season, man, for folks that don't understand what kind of player Faizon Brandon is, can you break it down to us? What kind of player is he? Does he throw the ball? Does he stay in the pocket? Does he run often? Break down his play to us if you could.
No, he's a dual threat guy. He can do a lot of different things. He's, like I said, he's extremely tall and physical. He's become a really good runner, and we do have some quarterback design runs. We don't run him a lot, but last year he did rush for about 600 yards and I think right around 7 or 8 touchdowns. And so he has the ability to run through tackles, to escape, and make plays with his feet. So that's huge that he has that dynamic ability. But he's probably at his best when he's in the pocket and he's able to kind of survey the field and make throws. He can make all the throws. He can make them from hash to sideline. He can make them vertically down the field. He has great touch on the ball as well, and then has the ability to fit it in tight spots. So just a tremendous skill set.
Coach Darryl Brown, what as you said, you've been coaching for over 20 years, Coach. Having a talent like Faizon Brandon, what was it like when you saw big schools coming in and, offering him at such a young age, and how's he handled that moving forward?
Well, I think probably one of the things that's probably helped him handle things is he's seen some of our other guys that's come through our program in the same situation as him. But Faizon is extremely young for his class, and he just turned 16 a month ago, back early in June. To be such a young kid who really doesn't, foster the attention, he's fine if he doesn't have any. I think he's handled things extremely well, and he's always made sure that he's the best he can be for his teammates and for his team here, and that's where his focus always is. I mean, in fact, he turned down a recruiting trip this summer so that he didn't miss any workouts, with his guys here at Grimsley. So he's always focused on being the best he can be for his team and his school here, and I think that helps him a lot, that he don't get caught up in all the other stuff.
Coach, we've heard as of late with the Tennessee Vols, they somewhat identify talent early and just find ways to get those kids to see, hey, look at us here also. How would you say the University of Tennessee's recruitment has been with a guy like Faizon Brandon as they're getting him early in this recruiting cycle for himself?
No, they've done a great job. I mean, they've been here quite a bit whenever they are allowed to be here and around. And Faizon's been up to, UT several times, been to games, and has really just become comfortable with their staff and Coach Heupel and all those guys. And says he loves it there. He says it feels like home every time he's up there. He's just become more comfortable the more he's around. And then also he has a pretty good relationship with Hendon Hooker, who is a Greensboro guy as well. And Hendon's dad and Faizon have trained and done some things through the years. So that's also a good connection for him. And obviously doesn't hurt as far as the recruiting process when you got a guy like Hendon Hooker talking to you about UT as well.
Grimsley High School head coach Darryl Brown is our guest. His quarterback Faizon Brandon committing to Tennessee over the weekend. And Coach Brown, calling high school football here in Tennessee, I talked to a lot of high school coaches about Josh Heupel and this staff just being accessible, being kind of a phone call away to be a resource about their offense, about their process, and all of those things. What has that been like, just dealing with Josh Heupel and communicating with him? Do you feel like he has been pretty open and upfront with you just about his expectations and what he likes about Faizon through this process?
Oh, yeah, it's been very easy. Him and then Coach Hazel have been here. And, those guys, like Saturday when Faizon made it official, his commitment, reached out to Coach Heupel, and he hit me right back up. So they're very accessible and have been great to work with.
So, Coach Brown, where do you see Faizon taking the next step as you look forward into you guys this season with some very good competition there in North Carolina? Where do you want him to take that next step and improve this season?
Well, kind of what we talked about earlier, some of the ways that we've seen him grow, just continuing to improve on that stuff. I mean, continuing to be a leader, continuing to anticipate throws, make them on time, and not rely so much on his arm strength, and just understand where his receivers are going to be and getting them the ball in the right spots at the right time, and really just kind of like taking ownership of everything that we got going on. I told him that obviously as a quarterback, he's the leader of our offense, but we need him to be the leader of our team and, in the locker room and when he's on the sideline, when our defense is on the field, and really just continuing to mature and grow in those areas. And I know he will because he wants to and he works at it. And it's not something we just tell him that we want him to do. Like, we try to give him tools and ways to help him do that as well. So he grasps all that stuff. And like I said, he's a guy that's hungry. I mean, he's here this morning, 6:30 in the morning our time, which would be 5:30 for you guys. But he's here early in the weight room, getting work in with his offensive skill guys before we head out to the practice field here in a few minutes.
Now, Coach, I played at Tennessee myself also, and I have a lot of good friends from the Carolinas in general. I've always told that if you want to take over the SEC, you got to somewhat capture the Carolinas. Can you speak on some of the talent that you guys have coming out of there and just the amount of schools that you have coming in to receive some of that talent? As you guys, I think, have the number one tackle in the country in David Sanders Jr. in your state. But I've always told, if you want to compete, you must hit the Carolinas. Speak on you guys' talent as a team and just the states in general.
Yeah, well, for us here at Grimsley, we've been very fortunate in the last 6 or 7 years or so that we've had a lot of really good teams, but we've had a lot of really good football players that are great kids as well. And, Faizon falls in line with a lot of those guys that have gone on to play at different places for us. We just had a young man, Bryce Davis, defensive end, who's one of the top players in the country at his position that just committed to Clemson. We've been very blessed here at Grimsley to have a lot of really good players, but I think the state of North Carolina somewhat gets overlooked a little bit. I think we're loaded with talent in this state. Like you mentioned the young man at Providence Day, the tackle. But if you kind of go through the Carolinas and kind of look back, there's several guys playing in the NFL now. There's guys at multiple Power 4 level playing at different schools. But, we in this area that we're in the Triad, in the middle of the state, it's loaded with athletes and really good talent. So, I think we're, like I said, right in the middle of all that. I think it creates, competition, and our guys here at Grimsley, kind of see what's going on in other places and want to just continue to get better.
Coach Darryl Brown, the head coach of the Grimsley Whirlies. Coach, I got to be honest. You got a lot of Tigers, Eagles, Lions across the country. You get a lot of weird questions about Whirlies. Like, I'm looking at your mascot right now, and I love this.
Yeah, well, the school's the third oldest high school in the state of North Carolina. And
nice.
the mascot has changed a little bit through the years, from my understanding. At one time, it was the Whirlwinds, and then it became the Whirly Birds, and then I think around 1950, they just made it the Whirlies, and so it kind of like resembles a tornado, I guess. Yeah. But it's the only mascot that we in the country with that name. We're the only school with that mascot, so it's kind of neat. We get a lot of different looks and a lot of student sections at different places that are kind of ribbing us a little bit with our mascot, but our guys have kind of relished it, and our school and community has as well.
I love it. Great stuff. Coach Darryl Brown with us, Faizon Brandon's head coach. Coach Brown, really appreciate the time this morning. Thanks so much.
Oh, yeah, thanks for having me on. Appreciate you guys.
Thanks, Coach.
Yes, sir. Good scouting report there on the newest Tennessee 5-star quarterback commitment.
Big, having a 5-star in your building, man. Goodness. Profile has changed now for the Whirlies.
Just amazing timing as well on Bert's new intro. We got to talk about it. Bert's new intro of me talking about the New York Mets hot dog promo over the summer about Seymour Wiener, the name of the World War II veteran who was honored before a Mets game on Hot Dog Day. Really great time for somebody who molds young men and coaches, young high schoolers to be joining us. I'm glad he didn't seem to be fazed by it.
That conversation was a month or plus back, man. You
more than that. That was like May.
That's what I'm saying.
How Robert Walsh menaced to society.
As soon as I heard the Ramones,
you heard the first one?
I knew which one it was, and I was like, oh no. There's no way this is about to play with this coach coming on with us.
I don't mind the joke, but we might need to change that one just to avoid the exact scenario we just had happen.
I checked with corporate. Everybody's cool with it.
Yes. Praise you, Bert, for being thorough in your investigation.
You checked with corporate of Bowling Enterprises?
I did.
Clearly not.
I did not.
I'm going to lose out on a play-by-play job in 20 years because I'm talking about Seymour Wiener in 2024. 615-737-1045, the big story of the morning. The Titans have reportedly added former Seattle safety Quandre Diggs. What does it mean for their other former Seattle safety, Jamal Adams? We'll talk about that next.